The second part of this lesson, we're going to look at the word problems for graphing inequalities. So we're going to do the same thing that we did for earlier in this chapter, last chapter, several chapters now that we're writing equations. I am going to, though, instead of doing W for water bottles and T for towels, I am going to stick with X and Y just because we're going to graph it. So it makes it easier to put in the graph with the X-axis and the Y-axis. So you earn $10 for each water bottle. We said those are going to be X. And $5 for each towel. We said that's going to be our Y. It says how many of each must you sell to raise more than? So this 10X plus 10Y, that's how much we're raising. We want this amount we're raising to be more than, so greater than $100. And now we have to graph it. So I could graph by putting it in slope-intercept form and then finding the y-intercept and counting the slope. But we could also graph by finding the x and y intercepts. So since we've had a lot of practice with slope-intercept form, let's do these with finding the x and y intercepts. It's also a good way to do word problems because a lot of word problems have decimal values, and it's really hard to put a decimal y-intercept and do a crazy decimal as a slope. So if we remember how to find the x-intercept, you're going to make the y equal 0, and then to find the y-intercept, we make the x value equal 0. So if we're going to solve the x-intercept first, we're going to make the y equal 0. So that's going to be 10x plus 5 times 0, plugging 0 in for y, is greater than 100. 5 times 0 is just 0, so that goes away. So I have 10x is greater than 100. Divide both sides by 10. X is greater than 100 divided by 10 is 10. So then our x-intercept is going to be at the 10, so I'm going to put a dot on the x-axis at 10. And then I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to find the y-intercept. So I'm going to make the x equal 0. So 10 times 0, plug in 0 for x, plus 5y is greater than 100. Anything times 0 is 0, so it goes away. So we have 5y is greater than 100. Divide both sides by 5, and we get y is greater than 20. So then my y-intercept is 20, so that's way at the top. And then now that I have my x-intercept and y-intercept, I can just connect the dots. But remember that since we are using inequalities, and this inequality is strictly greater than, cannot be equal to, so we need to have a dotted line connecting these two intercepts. Try to make it as straight as possible. I did not do the best job there. And then we need our value to be greater than or bigger than 100. So the side that's bigger than is going to be everything over here. So any point in this area would be a solution. So part C says write 2 possible solutions. So then I can just pick anything here. So if I pick this point, if x is 11, y is 2. So that's a point 11, 2. So one possible solution would be 11 water bottles, because x was water bottles. And then that'd be 2 towels. Also, we could probably label this. This is water bottles. And then y was towels. And then another possible solution, so maybe we pick one way up here. This would be in the shaded area. And that's 1 water bottle and 20 towels. So any point that's in that shaded area would be a solution. What we don't want to do is pick anything that's on the dotted line. Anything on the dotted line would be equal to 100, but we need our answer to be greater than 100. Our last one. A craft fair, we're making bracelets and keychains. Each bracelet, so let's use X for bracelets and Y for keychains. This is going to be keychains, this is going to be bracelets. So each bracelet, $5 to make, so $5 per bracelet to make, plus $3 for each keychain to make. And we do not want to spend more than $45. So we could spend equal to $45, or we can spend less than $45. We don't want to spend any more than that. And then let's graph using the same method, just so we can practice again, finding x and y intercepts. So for the x-intercept, we make the y 0. So 3 times 0. And then anything times 0 is just going to be 0. And then I divide both sides by 5. X is less than 9. So the x-intercept is going to be at the 9. And then we'll repeat, but for the y. So then I make the x 0. 5 times 0 plus 3y is less than 45. So we always want to make the opposite letter 0. So if I'm finding the y-intercept, I need to have a y left. So that's going to be 3y is less than or equal to 45. Divide both sides by 3. And we end up with y is less than or equal to 15. So then the y-intercept is going to be at 15. And then this time, we could have less than or equal to, so we could have a solid line. So we're going to draw a solid line to connect our two intercepts. And we want all the values that are less than. So all the values that are less than are going to be in this area here. So for two possible solutions, I could have this solution here, 1, 1. So that's one bracelet and one keychain. Or I could even pick a value on the line. So I could pick like this one right here, or anything along that line. Since it's a solid line, it counts as solutions. So that's going to be 9 bracelets and 0 keychains. So again, if it's a solid line, your answer could be on the line. If it's a dotted line, like number 5, the answer cannot be on the line. And then any other point in this shaded area is also a solution.